Now, the Tanzanian government has taken serious steps to liberalize the economy and encourage both domestic sector, private and foreign investments. The government may borrow as much as $700 million in a Eurobond next year to finance infrastructure projects. For more, I'm joined now by Brian Lamini, sovereign risk analyst at Rand Merchant Bank. Brian, thank you so much. I hear you haven't been well. It's good to have you back and strong at the desk.
Thanks.
Let's look at the economic fundamentals for Tanzania first. Are these in place?
So looking at the fundamentals, everything looks quite good. More, especially the gas story that you've just mentioned, that is the main driver going forward for growth. But there are a couple of challenges. You know, you've got power constraints as well. Manufacturing can't grow, but overall, on balance, things look quite good at projected 7% GDP
Right,
growth.
7% is quite a healthy number and probably one that other markets would really like to see. But let's maybe get into this gas story. I mean, there's been a lot of excitement about some of the discoveries that have been made in Tanzania. Are these discoveries commercially viable?
Yeah, so I think maybe the way to look at it is there's two parts to the gas story. There's onshore gas, which is currently, there's an onshore gas field, and there is gas coming out of that field. It's a small field, and gas is being pumped to generate power in Dar es Salaam. So the need is there for government to expand that gas field, to pump more gas and generate more power to alleviate power constraints. That's why there's a new pipeline where there's already a pipeline, just that it's smaller. It just means that I mean, there is track record on that front, so they can get moving to get, you know, that gas to the power stations by 2014 as per the whole announcement. But on the other side, you've got the offshore gas. Now, that is the one that everyone is getting very excited about. It's still early stages. 2021 is when the, you know, first gas is understood to be first coming out. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the power issue a little bit more. I mean, understanding some of the reportage coming through is calling this a crisis and something that is really choking and crippling business opportunities and investment opportunities in Tanzania. How big is this problem? Is it enough to see the redirection of foreign direct investment away from Tanzania?
Well, it won't get FDI coming out of Tanzania because you've got exploration going on with the offshore gas. So for the next, say, 5 years, there'll be money going into that. But as far as the onshore field that I just mentioned, it is a bit of a crisis because it's burning a hole in government's pocket. About between $300 to $400 million is what the state electricity company has to go and ask for at the country's treasury. So for the next 2 years, it's going to burn around about that amount into government's pocket. It's a big sum of money. I mean, if you think about it, hundreds and thousands of liters of jet fuel and diesel are being burnt on a daily basis just to keep, you know, things afloat. So it's a crisis when it comes to money. Government, it's not sustainable.
It's just not a sustainable situation.
So to get this new pipeline up and running is a priority to make, you know, the power generation much cheaper because it's a natural resource. Right.
So it's about getting cheaper and also getting more reliable. But let's maybe look at these prospects for Eurobond, $700 million. Is Tanzania's capital markets deep enough to absorb such an issue?
Well, the first things first, they don't have an external rating, so we don't even know where the markets would be pricing that Eurobond.
Right.
So they need an indication from one of the ratings agencies to say, look, this is where we say the country's sovereign rating is, and then we'll move from there. From what I understand, that process is well underway, and we probably could see a rating even early next year from what I can gather. And then from there, we'll get a very speedy process, I would reckon, where they would go to the market as soon as that rating comes out. I'd say maybe by half year next year, they'll go to the market to get that 700 million.
A quick look at the political front. Elections coming up in 2015, possibly a new constitution or a bit of utterings about something like that. How significant is the political interplay right now, and does it have positive or negative implications for the business front?
So overall, I mean, things are quite uncertain. There's no successor to the current president. They have what is similar to what South Africa has with internal party elections and so on. So no one has been elected. No one wants to obviously come out.
So is it the same thing like the African National Congress, where you're not allowed to put your hand up and say, I want to be president?
It's a similar situation.
Right.
So no one wants to put their hand up. Just now they get eliminated out
Right.
of the race. But then on the other side, you've got that referendum, the constitution happening, where the president has promised changes, you know, to the constitution. That will also affect how things work with Zanzibar, which is another issue,
Right.
because it's been, they want to be autonomous, they want autonomy
So
from
there's some
mainland.
secession talks happening there.
So there's just a whole lot of issues that are causing uncertainty on the political front. But overall, one can say, you know, the track record of stability is going to still stick around for Tanzania.
Brian, I've got less than a minute left. I just want to get a quick heads up from you. The sectors that one could possibly be looking out for, outside of course of gas, is there anything else worth noting in Tanzania?
Well, you've got a number of sectors. You've got telecoms, financial services. I'd say, broadly speaking, I mean, there's quite a nice array, an assortment of sectors to look at in the country.